So here we are, June 18th, 2020. The year is passing us by rapidly, and the world is heading headlong into chaos, as you can clearly see. So that being the case, we need to be aware of what's going on. We need to see what's happening. And you know what? As I really seriously fear that we are not going to see the world again as we have seen it early part of the year, January, February. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. And so that means there's some serious changes afoot, and those changes could be very detrimental if we're not prepared, and they could also be working to our advantage if we are prepared. Okay? So whether you're going to be positively or negatively affected by these changes is probably going to depend entirely on you and your positioning, how you're positioned to deal with those. And that's the core essence of the message that I want to bring to you this evening. Okay? So with that in mind, with essence of timing is of the essence, let me go ahead straight away, get into our presentation. Let me pull it up, see if I can get it on the screen. Get back to screen sharing. And there we are. Okay, so, the main title is, Are People Prepared for What's Coming? We need to brace ourselves for economic pain. All right, now, this presentation is going to expose the realities of the world that we live in. And I'm as positive of a person as there is. I don't believe anybody could be much more positive than I am. So I don't want to be accused of dwelling in the doom and gloom or fear-mongering or anything along those lines, because reality is what it is. And we have to be aware of it. And it's only if we're aware of it can we be prepared to come through it, not only surviving, but thriving when people around us are falling over like, dead flies in the economic wasteland, okay? So let me just set the tone with that right there, all right? So brace yourself for economic pain. What I'd like to do, I want to basically reference this message on an article that I found in Zero Hedge, and this was just a few days ago. All right, it says, this is why we're facing a 6-week countdown to imminent economic despair. Right? So let's dig into this. The article starts out, and I'll just read you this first paragraph. You can read along with me. Many of the emergency economic measures that were put into place to support the American people financially throughout this pandemic are about to disappear. And that means big trouble is on the horizon. Right now, we're in the midst of the deepest economic downturn since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Economic activity has fallen dramatically. More than 100,000 businesses have permanently closed. More than 44 million Americans have lost a job so far this year. But up to this point, Americans really are not feeling too much economic pain, thanks to the unprecedented intervention by the federal government. Unfortunately, that short-term boost of artificial relief is about to wear off. And that is going to cause some major problems as we approach the end of this calendar year. So, gives us pause to think about this to some degree. All right, so let's dig into it. They make reference here to a BuzzFeed article that very same day. This other Zero Hedge article was published June 15th, just a couple days ago. Quote, the U.S. economy right now is like a jumbo jet that's in a steady glide after both its engines have flamed out. In about 6 weeks, it will crash into the side of a mountain. Okay? So the passengers are not too alarmed. We're in a steady glide. You know, it's not bouncing around. It's not inverted. It's not shaking and rattling. Anything else, it's a steady glide, relatively peaceful. But the passengers don't realize that it's in a descent and mountains are ahead. All right? So that's a good analogy, I think, for where we're at right now in the economy. All right, so moving on, we've got a temporary fix, all right, that's keeping us in this steady glide, all right? Many states have banned evictions, that people cannot be kicked out of their homes for not paying their rent or their mortgage, all right? This ban is temporary, okay? Payments on federal student loans are on hold until October, so there's some relief for the mountains of student loan debt that millions of people have, okay? That's going to hit us in October. There's been a 6-month break on mortgage payments. Banks in most states are giving this allowance to the mortgagees. The lost wages from all the unemployment is replaced by trillions of dollars in government stimulus. Okay, this is helping to give us some semblance of normalcy, but it's fake. All right, and then in addition to the unemployment benefits, there's an additional $600 bonuses that are involved, and a lot of people that are being called back to work are angry because they don't want to go back to work because they're making more on unemployment than they were working. Now, if that isn't a deliberate sabotage to the economy, of course, that was a law, passed by the Democrats, but that's temporary. Okay, that's the point. These are all temporary fixes, and so on July 31st, the benefits run out. All right, then what? It's been estimated that 90% of the restaurants will be closed forever. They're saying, oh, you can go back to business. You can open up now, but only at a fraction of their capacity. Well, they can't pay their bills at a fraction of their capacity, whether it be 30% or 50%. They can't make money doing that. So sure, they might open, but in a losing situation, how long will they stay open? Okay? There's a retail apocalypse going on. Do a search. You will see names that you've grown up with your entire life going into bankruptcy or just outright closing their doors forever. All right? That was going on before the pandemic. All right? The unemployment bonuses will end. There will be no more government checks, okay? It's already been extended once, it looks like, and senators are saying that no, there's not going to be any more government checks distributed, perhaps beyond stimulus 2, all right? And that's just a small Band-Aid, on a major wound, okay? So with no spending, think about this, the ma and pa businesses will fail. Main Street America will fail. The only ones to survive will be the mega corporations who have the political clout to themselves get bailouts, get no interest loans, things like that ma and pa don't have access to. And so when ma and pa businesses fail, which represents, 70% or more of employment and economic activity in the overall economy, what impact is that going to have? Okay, So when these things happen, what then? What then should we expect? Well, here's what we can expect. Dominoes will start falling, and one will start knocking over the other. Evictions will resume, causing massive homelessness. The homeless and the needy will break the already broke government social safety net. I mean, the government they're already well over their heads in debt. All right? They don't have money. The government doesn't create money. All right? So this is going to break the safety net. There will be massive defaults on debt. Those student loans we talked about, credit card debt, mortgages, massive defaults on debt will cause a bank crisis. All right? And when there's a bank crisis, that domino will cause a liquidity crisis. When there's a liquidity crisis, credit freezes up. When credit freezes up, this causes a dead stop in economic activity. Think about it. Okay? And more trillions in stimulus only go to explode the current debt, which government puts on the backs of the people. I mean, that's not free money you're getting. Do you know how the money system works? The Fed creates the money and then uses that to buy government debt, bonds, T-bonds, treasury notes. How does the government pay on that debt? They put it on your back, the taxpayer. So nothing is free, and your children and your grandchildren are being enslaved for generations to come. I saw an article indicated that it took from the beginning of the United States of America, its existence, until 1981 to run up the first $1 trillion in debt. More than 200 years, right? 220 plus years to run up $1 trillion in debt. Well, your wonderful politicians have done that in the last 5 weeks. Think about it. And that's put on the backs of the people. So it's not free money. It's not a bailout. It's basically a bail-in. They're advancing you money that you're going to have to pay back with interest. And you're not going to be able to pay, so what happens? Banks foreclose, don't they? Okay? This is reality, folks. So where's that going to leave most people? It's a scary thought. Think about how so many millions of families are not going to be able to provide for their children. What a feeling that must be. I don't have any children, but I remember one time when my nephew, my sister's son, he was very young boy, had a birthday coming up, and I was in such dire straits, I couldn't even go find a cheap plastic $15 toy to get him for his birthday. And I just felt so horrible, just so worthless. It's like, if I can't even do this, God, why did you put me here? What good am I? And with this kind of depression, you can understand why we see a spike in suicide rates. Okay? So we're already at this point. But I'm suggesting, or Zero Hedge is suggesting, that it's going to get worse. Okay? So this isn't going to happen to us in the Community Support Network. Okay? This is not us. Let me explain. We take care of ourselves. We're all about economic independence. It's very simple. CSN is people helping people. We're helping each other. We're not dependent on government handouts, government food rations, soup lines, food banks, unemployment checks that are going to stop. We're not dependent on the government if you position yourself properly in the Community Support Network. Okay? And again, that's a prerequisite. There is no magic wand going on here. We're not dependent on employers, whether or not that job is going to be there. You might have seen the text on the intro. This is job-free income. Okay? We're not dependent on the economy, whatever happens on the economy. Yeah, we want it to be good for everyone. But if or when it's not, then what? If your job or your business is dependent upon the economy based on what we've just reviewed, I would be concerned. I would be very concerned if I were in that position, if you're in that position, okay? And we're not limited in our options. We're self-reliant, okay? This is what CSN represents. And everybody wins, okay? So here's the good news. Nobody could ever lose in CSN, okay? Let me explain why I say that. We're talking a one-time donation, $25, that's it. That's your biggest risk in this whole endeavor, all right? Big risk. You're going to give that to someone, help out a family who's going to use that wisely for their needs, and congratulations for being a good Samaritan, okay? If nothing ever happened beyond that, be glad, be happy, all right? But with that, our members are going to receive a complete education with training on a wide variety of topics in the long term, short term and long term, okay? On business, finance, saving, and investing, if that's what they want to do. Some people don't want to go the entire distance with Strategy 2020. They just want to focus on CSN. Well, that's great, okay? But you have options, all right? When you're in a corner, isn't it nice to have options, all right? So basically what I'm saying is for that $25, you're going to get a complete education on the new economy, on how to make money in the new economy that you won't get anywhere else, all right? So you cannot lose $25 for an education that would really seriously cost tens of thousands of dollars in other venues, okay? So now you make one referral, you recover your donation. How simple is that? One referral. Now, does that sound like a pyramid scheme? One referral and you've recovered your donation. And you're working on house money at that point because you've got nothing into it. You've got your $25 back. You've helped someone and now someone has helped you. So where's the risk? There's no risk in this, people. There's no risk. You're basically getting a free education and a free entree to new opportunities. All right? 2 referrals and you double your money. You got your $25 back. Now you got another 25 bucks. Again, does that sound like a pyramid scheme? No, of course not. All right. So now you've got two referrals, help them do the same thing. And you've got a free membership to the Lighthouse Law Club, where you're going to learn how to protect your legal rights, your property. You're going to learn how to deal with officials, officialdom, the Babylonian system, and be successful in dealing with these people, knowing where to draw the line, knowing how and when and where to push back in the proper way, where you are correct and always standing on solid, lawful ground. That Lighthouse Law Club membership has for years been made available in the marketplace very successfully at just under $2,000. And you're paying what? 25 bucks that you get back with your first referral? Tell me there's no value there. All right? And again, if you want to continue your education, expand your opportunities, develop a solid business in the new economy, Strategy 2020 is the overall concept, where community support network is only the first step. So there's more value coming down the pike beyond CSN. But CSN is the engine that will power your future. All right? And so then you're going to build your network for increased cash flow. And here, this network building aspect, it uses a very old business concept. You know what it is, network marketing. It's created more millionaires than any other business model. It's been around for over 50 years. Thousands of companies have adopted the network marketing business model as their method for distribution, word of mouth advertising, viral marketing. All right. And so thus, when you see our 3x10 matrix structure, you can understand that we're using the power of leverage. We're leveraging the power of a network to build your cash flow with increasing numbers of donations, and those donations are increasing in amount and value over time as your network grows. Okay? So the value here is really hard to even measure, to be quite honest. And that's why nobody ever loses. It's very simple. Nobody loses here. So look at this as your insurance. You're insuring your future against economic catastrophe, geopolitical convulsions, employment disruptions, currency deviations, devaluations. All right, this is your insurance. You're insuring your future. And as we've just seen moments ago, the future is full of risk, terribly high risk at this point in time. CSN helps you to mitigate that risk. All right? A viable future requires peace, stability, knowledge, uncommon knowledge that many people don't have, education, social and economic support. And that's all that we do here. That's what Community Support Network's all about. Okay? So being part of a community in the know and committed to mutual support is a huge benefit, if not just outright indispensable with the days that lie ahead for us. Okay? That's reality. That's the way it is. All right? You can spin it any way you like, but that's the world that we live in. That's what CSN is all about. Okay? So why would you want to take any chances? Why would you turn your back on CSN and look down your nose at it as, oh, it's just one of those things. I don't like those things. without thoroughly investigating it, without thoroughly evaluating what your future could look like if you stay on the current track that you're on, and what it might look like if you simply participate in the community with virtually no risk. All right? Why would you take those chances? So the choice is yours. You can roll the dice and take your chances, just see what happens, see if you get a 7 or 11. That's the choice you have to make. All right, so you can do that, or you can take the bull by the horns, take control of your own destiny, join the community, be master of your own destiny. So that's the choice that people are faced with. It should be a simple choice. We think it should be obvious, but everyone has their own circumstances, their own experience, their own perspectives. So all we ask of you is to make that decision, yes or no. Are you going to take your chances? Or are you going to join us in the Community Support Network? It really should be simple. Nothing complicated about it. All right, so if you decide to join us, get with the person who invited you and get started. We've laid it out for you. It couldn't be more simple. Nothing's easy. Everything takes work and effort. I don't say it's easy. I say it's simple. Simple concept, simple process. Put a little elbow grease to it and don't quit. The only way to lose at this is when you quit. All right? So we expect you are a winner with a winner's attitude. Whatever you do, God bless you. And thank you for giving us your attention here tonight. So,